One day at a time, free at last.
Phew. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Geri Petito Show on Hamilton Radio. This is my first time back live in studio since the beginning of the year. I am so excited to be here. I miss my studio here. So I have a really, really cool show tonight, guys, okay? And I am not kidding, okay? I am not kidding. Ruben, I hear an echo, sweetheart. I don't think you guys want to hear me echoing. Okay, let's see. I still hear it. Yeah, we're working on a little tiny echo. It's getting smaller and smaller. I think we're good now. All right, let's try it. So, first I want to say hello to someone special that surprised me today to hang out in studio. Family member here. Ryan Henry is his name. But what's really cool is I'm going to be sponsoring another show on Hamilton Radio, and it's going to be this guy's. Tell them your cool name of your show.
So my radio show name's The Jersey Rockabilly, Mr. Rockabilly Ryan.
Okay. But tell them why real quick.
So it's an interesting name. Jerry knows I like the 1950s and 60s, the doo-wop, the old soul, and that's what I base my show off of.
Tell them how old you are.
23.
Is that crazy? Even the furniture in his home is antique. He's
Yes,
got
it is.
Victrolas and records, and I mean, it's crazy. It's awesome. So I'm going to be his very first guest. I'm so excited, giving my story. I'm the author of I'm Not an Addict, I'm Just an Ass. I'm here to save lives, guys, because I'd rather be a smart ass than a dumbass, because 29 years ago, I was a dumbass. Today, 29 years later, I'm a smart ass. So we're here to save lives. So I'm going to be so honored to be his very first guest. It's Thursday. Tell everyone when.
So the show's going to be Thursday at 4:30, the 27th.
Okay, guys? So tune into that. Having said that, all right, so I have an incredible guest co-host who's with me on a lot of different networks, on a lot of different shows. His name is Justin Drummond. Justin, say hello to everybody.
Hello. I'm really glad to be back. It's really good. Always good doing one of these shows with you, and I'm really honored, to be here.
So he brought me another incredible guest. And I'm going to let Justin introduce her because I know he really wants to.
All right. So if you have listened to a couple of previous shows that we did, we have done mostly singers and everything like that. But we are so excited to brand new talent. We have an actress, and this is someone that I have never thought that I would get ever. And she has been a part of my childhood for so many years. And I'm really excited to have her on the show. Lauren Storm, how you doing?
Hi, I'm great. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Hi, Lauren.
Hi, Lauren.
Hi. Hello.
So I'm so excited. Listen, let's just get this out of the way. All right, Justin, let me just say what I want to say to her. Then we can get it out of the way.
Okay.
And the real interview, the professional interview by you, Justin, we'll start, okay? And you can ask her a question if you want to, because you're also an upcoming actor.
Right.
Tell her what you've been on.
So I've been doing some small background roles on The Marvelous Miss Maisel, Mr. Robot, and other upcoming shows as well.
Cool, right?
That's a wonderful experience. Wonderful experience.
It is.
So, Lauren.
Yeah.
All right, here it goes. So, you were in a movie with The Rock.
I was.
Tell everyone the name of the movie.
Sure. So I did a movie for Disney called The Game Plan with The Rock. And that was a pretty incredible experience. We got to film in Boston. And actually, Dwayne was really the reason I got the role. I had the pleasure of meeting him when I was doing a television series in Hawaii. And I think I'm getting this right.
Okay.
A former assistant of his worked in our office on the show.
Okay.
And she arranged for him to come and surprise one of our co-stars for his birthday. And so we all got to meet The Rock. Cut to years later, I was up for this part in this movie. It was between probably me and a couple of other people. And I sent an email to that former assistant saying, is there any way you could let him know? Like, we met. I don't know if he would want to work with me. And I got a forwarded email back that said, hey, Lauren, you're in. You owe me a pizza.
Oh my gosh. A pizza. Honey, you get me introduced to The Rock. I'll give you more than a pizza, okay? More than a pizza, girlfriend.
Pizzas.
Listen, I was so excited to hear that, okay? I'm a huge Elvis fan. Elvis Presley's my guy, but I got to tell you something, honey. The Rock, he's up there.
He is beautiful inside and out.
I'm sure. So I'm so happy about that for you. So before we get to your real interview, would you like to ask her anything?
Sure. So, Lauren, I actually do have one question for you. For others like me who are just getting started out, what do you have to tell people that don't understand what a day, like a life on a set is when it comes to long hours and what to expect? Because a lot of people that I've talked to go in and they're just like, it's going to be easy, but then you have the long hours of sitting in the trailers, union, non-union.
So it's interesting. Working on a production is kind of like a clock.
Mm-hmm.
It has all these moving parts that have to like in harmony work together.
Right.
And without all of the parts, it can't tell the correct time. So with a set, as an actor, yes, you are there a long hour.
Right.
And be grueling depending on the role, and you have your part to play.
Mm-hmm.
But there are so many people behind the scenes
right.
that are there before you get there, and they're there after you leave, and have some serious metaphorical and literal heavy lifting to do.
Right, right.
So I would say for someone starting out, no, I would not consider the job easy.
Mm-hmm.
However, it is so fulfilling and amazing when you actually like get the chance to be on a set. I would say it's much harder to get a role than it is to maybe perform your duties as an actor, because that's like the fulfilling part, right?
Right.
So I think what you're doing in terms of learning the ropes on a set, working in background on major productions, is definitely one of the major things someone starting out can do to understand how a set works, because there's certain lingo, protocols, the way you go that is just best learned by doing.
Right, exactly.
Plus, you can get into a union when you work enough in background.
Right.
And once you're in the union, better opportunities to get bigger roles.
Right, yeah.
So cool. So Justin is biting at the bits. Justin, you can now do your very professional interview here on the Geri Petito Show with Lauren Storm. Take it away.
Yeah, well, I mean, I really wouldn't say that. I mean, I know that you really want to, she's your guest too. So I mean, I really want to ask, you have the floor with some things. But anyway, Lauren, it's really good to have you. Usually, I start the interview with the same question for every guest that I bring on, because every story has a beginning. Okay, so tell us a little bit about when you first realized that acting was something that you wanted to do.
Sure. So as a young person, I'm an only child, and I think I had trouble connecting with people my own age, and expressing myself, and I think I had a lot of anxiety surrounding that. So my mom put me in acting classes just to kind of help me break out of my shell and be able to speak to people and express myself. I was cripplingly shy.
Oh.
And so through those acting classes, I started getting little jobs and I liked it. And it was really cool and exciting. And my parents were kind enough to allow me to have an opportunity to work as a professional actor. They said, if you keep your grades up and continue your schooling, we'll let you go to Los Angeles for pilot season. coming from Chicago originally. And so, yeah, we went. We went for a few months. And pilot season, though it doesn't really exist in the same way now, is a number of months at the beginning of the year where new shows are bought and made for television networks. And so it's like this super actor heavy time because all of these new productions are happening. So all of these actors are auditioning. And my parents let me do that. And I was very fortunate to get into the union fairly quickly. So they let me kind of stay a little longer, work a little bit more, and it really just snowballed from there. But it was completely unexpected. My mom had a whole plan for me that I did absolutely none of.
Sounds like my life.
Yeah. So, Geri, do you have any thoughts?
I'm sorry?
No, I was like saying like, oh, Geri, like, do you have any thoughts on that?
It sounds like my life, okay? My parents had, yes, of course. But you know what? What's beautiful is that you have such great parents that it was okay and they allowed you to become who you wanted to become. And look at where you're at today, right,
Yeah.
Justin?
Yeah, I mean, like, you and I, like, kind of have a little similar story. I mean, like, I was very misunderstood, like, as, you know, growing up in school. I didn't really, like, talk to anybody. Like, I had a little bit of it, like, social anxiety, too. And I really didn't, like, take everything seriously until, like, my last year, which was when I actually started to break out of my shell a little bit. And, like, that's when, like, people really started to say, like, hey, you know what? Like, this guy is really cool. Like, I mean, like, even though he is different, like, I mean, like, it's really good to know, like, where, like, everyone is coming from. And, like, I really love this kid to death. So, okay.
Yeah.
So,
That's beautiful.
yes. Okay. So, moving forward, I mean, like, we all have our different thoughts, like saying, like, oh, hey, I want to do this, I want to do that. Like, but when did you start taking, like, acting, like, as, like, seriously? Like, when did you, like, actually, like, say, like, okay, like, I'm actually gonna do this?
I think when I was quite young when I made the move across the country. I knew I at least had to take my responsibility seriously because it's a risk and a sacrifice. You know, my parents are still together, but I didn't live with my dad for a lot of the year because he worked back in Chicago and he would go back and forth and we would go back and forth. And so because of the sacrifice that all of my family made for this potential dream, I knew I had to take it seriously. But I think I saw it as a career when I began to actually work in like TV and film production and commercials and stuff. So it seemed like it clicked as something, maybe not everything, but certainly a part of what I wanted in my professional future. And I just got so lucky that I've been able to participate in, you know, as much as I have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, like, I really wanted to do, I was kind of a little back and forth on what I really wanted to do, like, you know, like, from, like, being a musician to, like, actually, like, being on the radio doing interviews. And, like, yeah, I never really kind of know, but, like, as soon as I, like, understood the craft a little bit more, I mean, like, I definitely really saw that this is definitely something that I could do. And, like, I really think I would, like, be able to work on it, like, even though, like, I do have, like, social issues and everything. And yeah, I mean, pretty much it. So
like that's the beautiful part of it, right? Is
Yes.
you kind of found this avenue, and then the fun part is like going down the road. Like, you're not at the end, you're at the beginning.
I love
And
it.
so
Yeah.
that's really cool when, like, that part happens. And I feel like that grows and evolves too, right? Because, you know, I do more than act now. I write and I coach and I do art. And so it's like, it's even more than one road. It's like split into several different things. But figuring that out is really, it can be scary, but it's also really fun and fulfilling.
All right, yeah, okay. So I want to take this time because I mean I really would like to know a little bit about some of like the uh, big production of like big like parts that you actually got to work on because I did read your bio and since we were already talking about it like a little while ago, let's start with the game plan. Like tell us like how like your experience with that was and like how did you really
Sure. So, if I remember correctly, during that time, when I was auditioning for the game plan, I was also, I had just booked another independent role for a much smaller movie, but a bigger part and a more dramatic part, basically at the same time as the game plan. And so at one point I was told the timelines are the same and I have to choose. And I was like, no, is there any way I can work on both? And I was basically told no. So by sheer coincidence or whatever you may call it, Dwayne, The Rock, injured his Achilles tendon.
Oh no.
Yeah, so it wasn't, I don't believe it was severe, but he had to take a break in filming. And that fact allowed me to do both parts because they took a break.
Wow.
That's insane.
Great. Yeah. So I went back and forth to Boston to film. And not only was I a fan of The Rock, but I mean, Kira Sedgwick was in the movie, and it was directed by this really awesome man named Andy Fickman, who I happen to have a lot of mutual friends with, and he's so talented. And I remember when we were filming, one of the opening scenes that I worked on in the movie, we would do a take, and then the director would yell cut. He'd be like, great, okay, bigger. And then that happened like 4 more times. And finally I'm just like, I don't know how much bigger I can do this. I might not be able to talk tomorrow. And so I did like the craziest version of that scene I could do. And at the end, the director's like, okay, great, that was it. Anyway, moving on. And I'm like, it was so nuts.
Imagine
yeah,
that.
it was a really good experience, and everyone was so great.
Oh my god, like that is quite a story. Like, oh my god. And like doing a little rewind, I mean like I can't really imagine like doing you know, 2 things at once, like especially like you know, with like that much going on.
Very different parts.
Yeah, and to imagine like you like ruptured your Achilles, like oh my god.
I felt close. I was okay, but my voice was a little hoarse the next day, I must say.
Yeah, Geri, like any thoughts on that?
Well, listen, I just thought it was a very cool story, and I mean, poor Rock, okay? But look.
I know he's working hard.
But look where it got you, right?
Very serendipitous.
Something
Very
positive
serendipitous.
always comes out of something negative, I believe.
I believe that too.
So, what do you
Okay,
want to say?
so-
Anything?
All right, so moving on forward, like I really want to talk about like one of my all-time like favorite works of you, and this is actually like how like I actually got was in first with you. Like Flight 29 Down, like that was my childhood. Like that, like completely like part of my childhood. Like can you? Well, first of all, like those who are not familiar with it, can you tell us a little bit about it?
Sure. So Flight 29 Down was a television series that aired on NBC Saturday mornings and then later on Discovery Kids and Boomerang. And it was basically about a group, like a school class on a field trip. Where you have to take an airplane and the plane crashes on an island and they must all survive. So it's kind of like Lost Light.
How old were the kids? How old were the kids? He knows it.
So,
I don't.
I do, yeah.
most of the kids were high school age,
Okay.
and then we had one little brother, and he played the little brother. But I think Alan, who's the actor's name, I think Alan was 7 or 8 when he started, so he's real little.
Okay.
Yeah, not to mention like Alan, like I mean, like who like I really thought was just gonna be like just like a kid, like I'll be like, oh my god, I'm like so curious. Like he's a genius.
Yeah, he's just, and you know what? In real life, he's pretty much a genius too.
Yeah.
How old is he
Okay,
now
so,
about? How old is he now about? I'm just curious.
Oh my god, I think he's like 20.
Oh, okay. So this was a
Two?
while ago. So you guys were young. So what do you think about the show?
I turned 18 on my flight over.
Oh, okay.
We filmed on the North Shore of Oahu.
Oh, wow.
What do you think
which
about
was
it, though?
So yeah, I just turned 18 when we started the show,
Wow.
and we did that for 3.
And that's definitely
Yeah.
is.
I absolutely like it was in love with your character. You stayed on point like for so. Oh my god! Like
You
I
know,
mean, like
Justin,
because
that's
everyone like really and
role that I've played too. There's like this sweet spot when I have an opportunity to play the not so sharp characters. There's something inside of that I adore so much, because it really takes a lot of thought to perform that without being like a caricature.
Okay.
And if I could play that type of role for the rest of my life, I'd be so thrilled.
Ryan,
Yeah, because,
wait,
I mean, I
Justin,
think-
give me 1 second, sweetie, because we're having a delay with sound. That's what's happening. Ryan just wanted to say something to her.
So now, just like Justin said, I grew up watching the reruns of that show, but still, your face was one that, people my age, we definitely recognize from that series. As it was created then, too, it's still just as relevant today with the storyline, which is still amazing and holds up. Your character definitely was one that, everyone can recognize that, honestly, I feel like was a staple in your career. It's just one of those recognizable roles where you're like, that's Lauren Storm and that's her. And how you were saying how it's not so much like a caricature, it's more or less you're bringing that, in a sense, to be a real
Yes,
person.
It's a completely different way of thinking, right?
Right.
That's kind of how I figured it when
Mhm.
I was, learning how to play this girl, because, people we see ourselves as ourselves. It's
Right.
normal.
Mm-hmm.
Like how I speak, how I think. This is the baseline. This is normal. But for a character that's so different from myself,
Right.
I have to completely switch around my thinking, which is, I must say, a joy and a delight.
I can imagine.
I have so much fun doing that.
Now, with that as well, looking back at it and watching the show, after it came out, what did you think watching yourself and the character develop over time, and in general, how was that for you to watch yourself being a completely different person?
I would say there was something so heartfelt and emotional that kind of grew in me as my response, because the people that I worked with, we were actually on an island and
Right.
lived together and worked
Mhm.
together,
Wow.
and really became a family. I'm still close with most of the people I worked with
Oh,
on
wow,
that
okay.
show.
Mm-hmm.
And like I talked to DJ, our creator, maybe like a week ago. A
Oh,
couple
wow.
weeks ago.
Okay. So definitely still very
So,
close.
yeah. So, and I think I talked to Alan like last week too. So,
Wow.
like
Yeah.
we became so close. And as the show evolved and eventually came to a close,
Mm-hmm.
the evolution of my character was definitely like a parallel
Right.
to the evolution of my relationship with those people. Though it wasn't the same,
Mhm.
my character grew
Right.
for sure and grew closer to
Mhm.
that.
Okay, Justin.
So that was kind of like even though it was so silly, that was like
Right.
a beautiful thing.
Right. Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you for that. Justin, the floor is yours.
Yeah, I was actually like kind of thinking a little bit more of the opposite, because I mean, like I see this like amazing, beautiful girl like that. Just really enjoys like
The pretty
their
thing.
the character, the character a little bit. And I mean, it just really shows. I mean, and I definitely believe this a little bit more. I mean, never like judge really who a person really is, because I mean, because I can definitely like see like how hard that must have been, like, to separate character from real life.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, go ahead, Justin.
Okay, so another amazing piece of work that you did was "I Love You, Beth Cooper."
I was so
And
hoping someone would bring that up.
I haven't heard I'm not really familiar with this movie, and I'm pretty sure a lot of the fans aren't. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. So I would say that I Love You, Beth Cooper was probably my biggest part and the most challenging. So I Love You, Beth Cooper was a movie that Chris Columbus directed for Fox. And Chris Columbus directed movies like Home Alone and the first two Harry Potters, Mrs. Doubtfire. So like this guy was my childhood, right? And I had coincidentally read the book I Love You, Beth Cooper, which the movie was based on, written by this awesome guy named Larry Doyle, who also wrote for The Simpsons. And so I was coincidentally coaching a friend of mine for an audition for a different part in that movie. And I loved the character of Tree so much. And I had read the book and I'm like, oh my gosh, I love her. She's hilarious. I want to be her. And I talked to my agent at the time and said, is there any way I could get an audition for this movie? And they said, well, Treese is a heavier character, and you're too skinny. She was supposed to be like this kind of fun, sort of pleasantly plump, like crazy character. So I said,
Like me.
well, what if I gain a little bit of weight for the audition? And after a little bit of back and forth, they're like, okay, go for it. And so I think I gained like maybe 10 pounds, maybe a little bit more for the audition, which could have totally backfired. And then after my initial audition, I got a call saying that I was going to screen test for this movie, which I'd never done like a big movie screen test before. Not like that. I mean, they picked me up in a car and took me to the sound stage in Technicolor and did hair and makeup, and it was like kind of a mini set, cameras, lights, the whole thing for a screen test. And so they're like, okay, keep eating. And I'm like, okay.
I love it.
I really hope I get this. And so when I got to the screen test, I actually knew several of the actors testing for other roles, and this one actress testing for the role I was going out for, named Alia Shawkat, who I knew a little bit personally, but was a huge fan of professionally. She was on Arrested Development, among many other things. But I was like, oh my gosh, this girl's so funny. She's great. Of course she's going to get the part. And I go in and I do the screen test. And I think I even like tripped, like, and stumbled, like, within minutes, like, doing the scene. And I'm like, well, I guess I better stop eating donuts now, you know?
Oh my gosh, that's great.
And then I got a call that I got the part.
That's
And I
great.
boo-hooed a little bit on the phone.
I want to
And
comment,
I
Justin,
flew
real
to Canada
quick.
for 6 months.
I want to comment on this real quick.
Sure.
Back in the day when I was younger, they showed some actors and actresses that actually gained weight or lost weight for certain shows, movies, big parts. And hearing you say that you were willing to do that and it was even your idea, I just want to like say kudos to you because that proves how important this is to you. And I just want to say you're a beautiful person again, inside and out, and for you to put that out there, letting people know it's not all about being thin, you know. So that was beautiful.
No, especially now. It's so different now, even from whatever I think that was like 10 years ago. Yeah, I mean, it's so much more inclusive now, which I think is a beautiful thing. But at the time, especially just given how the character was written,
Right.
and how the character was in the book, I just didn't look right. I needed to get heavier. And so I think all in all, I gained like 45 pounds.
Wow.
Oh my
But you
God.
took it off, but then you lost weight, right? Obviously.
Which was not as easy as putting
No,
it on.
but look at what you've accomplished. I mean, just that in itself, that was. Listen, do you understand where I'm going with this? I don't want people to think you have to go gain weight. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is your goal.
Yeah.
Do whatever it takes to fulfill your goal and be who you want to be. That's all.
Absolutely. And, you know, I'm really happy I had that experience because after the fact, I am probably a much healthier person physically than I was going into it. I worked with a nutritionist and a trainer to help me get back in, like healthy shape. And through that, I gained knowledge, and now I feel like I'm much better on the inside than I probably was before.
Wow.
So
I love you more. I love you more.
So I definitely want to follow up on that. Because I mean, like, I know that like some people like are like fearing like the worst like when it comes to like like auditioning and everything. Did you ever really like have that gut feeling like that you knew that was gonna happen?
In terms of, do you mean like judgment on looks?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think, in this industry, especially, I mean, it's getting better and better, I would say. But there's an element of that, absolutely, especially for girls. Pretty women are kind of like a staple of movies and television, at least historically. And I think that the standard of what that means is becoming like, it's shifting and evolving and becoming so much more inclusive, which is awesome. And I think should continue on, but there's always an element of that because it's a visual medium, right? So like, I wouldn't even necessarily say like,
That's cool.
It's specifically weight or looks or age based, even though I'm sure those are elements. But I do think that there's like this overall feeling of like, do I look right enough for this? Mm-hmm. Which can be nerve-wracking. But then, I mean, I don't know. As I've gotten into my 30s, I'm just like, yeah, I mean, that exists. But like, I'm me.
I love it.
This is me.
I love it.
Yeah, and how old are you now?
I am 33.
Oh yeah, okay. So I'm pretty sure that you've done a lot of time to think about that.
Yeah. She's also putting out a very positive image, positive image out there for all these young girls.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see this beautiful lady here? What she just said? Please listen to her. Important.
I think it's most important that you are. What is that Dr. Seuss line? No one is youer than you. Something like that. I think there's like, you won't ever look more beautiful or be more attractive or magnetic than when you feel most yourself.
Beautiful.
Right.
And I think in my 20s, like I was probably figuring that out. And a lot of that has to do with like not the industry at all. Like self-love, knowing how to receive love and gratitude and all of that, I think really helps you be me. Be my best friend.
Okay, so moving along forward, I'm gonna be, because this is the question that I've been really like dying to know, because I am a huge fan of a couple of thriller movies, because I know that you've done a few actually, Munger Road, and I think like there was another one like Apartment like 301, I think it was called.
Shoo. Thrillers.
Oh,
Like
Um,
I think like there was like a thriller like about like some sort of apartment room that was haunted.
Are you talking about The Roommate?
Oh yeah, that one, yeah.
Yes. Okay, so I actually played a pretty small part in The Roommate. That was a surprise. I received a call from my agent at the time, and he's like, "Hey, are you free next week to do a couple of days on this movie?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And I didn't even know what it was. That I don't think that happens so much anymore. But I'm sure somebody like in the casting process probably knew me from like another audition or something else, and was like, "Oh, there's this little part, but you know what? Lauren could probably do it." And so I played a friend of I think Leighton Meester's roommate in the movie. I'm pretty sure. And it's kind of like this obsessive friend, single white female sort of vibe, but for a younger audience. It was a Sony movie, and yeah, it was pretty freaky. But Munger Road, so that was really cool. I auditioned for that because I love scary movies, and little scary movies are so much fun to work on because you kind of like, the budget is small and you have to all band together and make this as spooky as possible. And so it's like this very unique experience. But the cool thing for me working on that movie is, one, I got to go back to Chicago. So like my grandparents came and got to see me on set, which never happened. My parents came and visited. So that was cool. But also I got to work with an actor named Trevor Morgan, who I had worked with when I was like a teenager and had been friends with off and on for years, but I didn't even know he was part of the movie until like I got like the paperwork to like go film. I was like, oh my God. So it's always really fun to work with friends and to work in my home state. So that was cool.
I have a question about that, real quick before I forget. I'm glad you got to see your grandparents. That was beautiful. But when you're doing a scary movie, I've never gotten to ask any actor or actress this because I don't like scary movies. So when you're doing a scary movie, are you ever scared? Like, do you guys get scared too?
Oh, totally.
Okay.
Yeah. So I love scary movies.
Yeah.
But okay, so for me though, that's different than being scared like in real life.
All right.
So yes, it is a little bit spooky. And I think that certainly helps. Like my philosophy about scary movies is the more scared the actor looks on screen, the scarier the movie.
Oh no.
So if you can achieve that like legitimate fear, the movie's gonna be spooky.
Okay.
But so it was really cool. Like most of the movie, the filming process was just really fun. It was primarily night shoots. So, you know, you get to set at like 5 p.m. and then you head home at sunrise.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like this fun, like sleepover vibe. But then there are those times where I'm like waiting between scenes or walking, you know, back to get whatever, a tea or a coffee or something. And I'm in the woods in the middle of the night. And it's not scary.
It's crazy to me. Crazy to me.
Yeah.
Okay. So I have a personal question. Before I continue, and here we go. Favorite scary movie?
My favorite, The Shining.
I knew
Oh,
it.
yeah.
I knew it.
That's one of my favorites too. I am a super fan of Steven.
Forget
Wow.
it.
Yeah, I know Geri's probably like a little like, oh my god, like I love it.
I saw them, because I was younger and different.
So beautiful. It's like the spookiest.
Yeah, like red rum.
Yes. I oh god, this is so embarrassing. I can't believe I'm telling you this. I actually several years ago wrote like a hip opera. So like a series of rap vignettes that have not been recorded. That chronicle the beginning to the end of the Shining novel.
Can you do one line? I mean, just one line?
I don't know. I don't think I can.
Okay.
Because I also don't remember it. It's like
okay,
written
that's
in,
fine.
like,
That's fine. But that's fine. Oh wow. Okay. Okay, Justin. Let's talk about happy things now.
Okay.
Yeah, because we don't want to really like make you uncomfortable or anything, or like a bunch of.
I'm not. But I not only do I like not. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head. It's like hidden in like a drawer. So
That's fine. Leave it there. Lock the drawer, baby. Lock it. All right, Justin.
It'll be one day, I'm sure.
Okay, maybe one day. Okay, so so I have a question, and this is kind of like a little this is kind of a put you on the spot question, because I mean I know like some people say oh, like what if this doesn't work out or anything, what do I do now? Did you ever really have a plan B, if this acting thing never really worked out?
I mean, I actually took a long break from acting for a while, and I worked in corporate America for a startup. My partner at the time was going back to school, and it made more sense for me to have like a steadier income, and so I worked at a startup called Soylent off and on for several years. And through that, it was actually this like amazing transformation, because like I missed acting so much, and I'm actually just kind of slowly, stepping back into acting pretty recently. But it made me understand that like I love acting, but I also love so much more. Like I began to write, which fulfills this whole other like artistic outlet for me. And throughout that entire time, I've coached young actors on auditions, which
that's cool.
Like I get to act, but it's like a totally different thing. So yeah, I think it's important to at least have some sort of idea of what could help you fulfill this passion, because acting or whatever art form you want to do should bring you joy, but it's not a guarantee that it'll bring you money. And many actors and other performers that I know have other careers or other jobs that they do to allow them to survive, to continue this passion. And there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
Like, I think that like your business and your passion, when they're synonymous, like that's amazing.
It's amazing.
But it's not a failure when they're not.
That's right.
Like, as long as you can still do the stuff that makes you feel fulfilled and joyous, that's all that really matters. So whatever, like,
I am even a bigger fan of yours. I'm now a huge fan of yours. I mean, you're not just a great actress. You didn't only just, play with The Rock, honey. I'm just here to say everything you're saying is so encouraging to everyone out there. I just, right?
It is. No, it definitely is.
You're amazing. You are amazing, because listen, it's okay to have a full-time job doing stuff you're not really happy about, as long as you're doing on the side what you are, or vice versa. Absolutely.
I think so too. I'm not the only one that thinks that, by the way. Like I feel like so many successful masters in their craft believe this philosophy.
Yes.
Because like it's how you define success, right?
Yes.
And I think for so many years, I defined success as like being like the most busy, heavy hitting actress on everything, everywhere. Like I don't have a minute to myself. But now that I'm older and have had more life experience, that's actually not at all what makes success to me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, having the ability and the freedom to express myself in these artistic outlets, whether it's acting or writing or teaching or art or whatever, that freedom is the success. And like everything else is just kind of, I don't know, it's life.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with it.
I love you.
And the industry is ever shifting too. That's the other thing. Like no one kind of knows what's going on because there's this digital frontier and all of these new platforms and everything's shut down.
Yep.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah, and so tell us a little bit about like something that you always. Oh wait, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Justin. Yes.
Oh, sorry. So this is like something that I've wanted to know for a little while. Like, do you have anything like that you like really hoped to like happen in your career, like that hasn't happened yet?
Absolutely. So I am in the process and have completed a few writing projects. I've written a couple of pilots and I've written a few drafts of feature film scripts. I'm about 2/3 of the way through a novel that I've always wanted to write. So one of my goals for the future is to produce, direct, sell a book, make things that come from my mind, in addition to participating in things that other people wrote and other people direct. I want to do that too.
Beautiful.
Yeah, but I mean, it's gonna be really hard, especially like with everyone on lockdown and everything.
Sure.
And yeah, I mean, like how I mean, how are you holding up? How are you taking this like whole thing that's going on?
You know, I would say that I have to remain focused on the things that I have. That I'm very lucky to have. So, you know, I've got a roof over my head and a supportive family and a boyfriend who's the sweetest boy ever.
Sweetest boy.
Who loves me. And so yes, like this is a scary time and an uncertain time for everyone. But I am so grateful to have things that matter. And, you know, parameters often breed like innovation and happy accidents. So like, I just have to work with it. We're all doing it. It's not like I'm alone on the shutdown. Like we're all figuring this out. So I'll band together. I'll try and connect with other professionals that I know in the industry and try and make some of this stuff or sell some of this stuff and see what happens. That's all I can do.
You know,
But,
Justin, I think.
that doesn't mean that it's not scary.
No, but I
Like,
think we
it's
got
okay.
Lauren because of this lockdown. So look what came out of this.
So yeah, it's I think it's challenging for everyone, but like the thing that breaks up that anxiety and fear is gratitude and just like keeping the momentum going. Like, okay, so I can't do this way, but I will do this another way.
It's beautiful.
You know, like a shot. Like, keep moving forward.
It's beautiful.
And you will figure it out. Like things do work out. Things always work out. Maybe not the way you want them to,
Right.
or the way you think they should, but things always figure themselves out. So just like momentum, gratitude. That's all I got.
So awesome. Awesome. Justin, you there, baby?
Yeah. So, like, as we're almost coming to the close of the show, I mean, I do want to ask you: do you have any advice, like, for any of those future actors, like, that actually want to do this for a real-time job?
Sure. Kind of what I tell my students is, okay, so why do you want to act? And if the reason you want to act is to be famous or make a lot of money, the odds are not in your favor because you just never know, because there are so many variables. However, if acting brings you joy and allows you to express yourself and fulfills something inside of you, you should go for it 1000% and do what it takes to be able to participate in this style of art. And like, the other stuff will then follow through, right? It's about what your motivation is for doing it. And if your motivation is joy, then like run towards that joy. Amazing. But you know, this is life. You have to be practical in a way. You have to be able to survive while you pursue your art, and that's okay. But just like, you know, there's no guarantees in life, especially in an artistic medium that is like completely dependent on people's opinions, right? It's not like, you know, you can go to school for 10 years and you're a doctor and then you have your license to practice medicine. It's not the same thing at all. So, so I would say if you love it and you want to do it, like, do it, make it work. But if you just kind of want to like get rich or like, I don't know, be famous, just like go on Instagram or something.
You are incredible.
Like,
you're amazing. What I would like right now is for you to tell everyone. We have time, guys. Justin, I'm going to have you piggyback off of what she just said about your life as well. But Lauren, tell everyone how they can get in touch with you or reach out to you, or what's up and coming for you.
Sure. So I have a few projects, personal projects in the mix right now. I don't have any concrete timelines as of yet to disclose, but I will put that out there for sure when I do. But you can either, if you want if you want me to coach you on an audition, you can go to my website, which is laurenstorm.com, and that's got all my information on it. Or you can follow me on Instagram, or you can check out my page on Facebook, though I'm not very active on my Facebook page besides just sharing some stories. But yeah, my Instagram's open. You can see my adventures, though they're pretty localized right now. Though earlier in the year I did some, I was very lucky to do some world traveling before everyone got shut down. So yeah, you can follow me and see what I'm doing.
So I have a question before we get to Justin. Who have you met that has been incredible for you to meet, and who do you want to meet that you haven't met yet?
Ooh, okay. I would say there've been a few incredible people that I've had the pleasure of meeting and working with. Chris Columbus was amazing. The Rock, who is like, he really is like one of the most generous people I've had the pleasure of meeting. But I would say my favorite person, who I am so blessed to call friend, that I've gotten to work with, is Corbin Blue.
Wow. Talk about childhood right there. That's amazing.
Yeah, Corbin, you know, when we were doing the first season of the show, that's when he did High School Musical, and he just thought it was going to be like this little movie. And so we had this like little screening party for him. And then that weekend he got mobbed, and we had to like leave this like county fair that we were at.
Oh, wow.
Because he like couldn't.
So crazy.
You know.
Yeah,
So,
not to mention. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, so I would say Corbin has remained and like even grown more so into like the kindest, most real himself person that I think I've had the pleasure of working with on such a long term, and now, I mean, God, we've been friends for I don't know how many years now.
Beautiful.
But he's amazing. I think the person I would love to meet, surprise, surprise, is Stephen King. I hope one day he reads my book and putting that out there into the universe. So I would probably like throw up or not be able to say it, but
That's great.
whatever. Yeah.
That's great. So Justin, I want to give you an opportunity to say whatever it is you want to say also, because you know how I feel about you, kiddo. And give everybody a little bit more of a background about you as well. And the reason I'm asking you to do that is because people need to know how incredible you are also, and how far you've come with what you want to do with radio. Justin, the floor is yours.
Okay. Well, Lauren, I absolutely appreciate you taking the time out of your busy life to like be part of this interview. Like you and I definitely have similar stories, like being like very misunderstood and people like being a little bit judgmental. I mean, I've been in your position before. I mean, like with Asperger's, like high functioning autism, and like which involves like a little bit of a social and mental issues, a little bit like that. Like, but I mean, like, if there is something that you really want to do, like, you go out and do it. And for those of you like listening, like who happen to want to be a future guest, like on like any of three people that I'm working with right now, please feel free to send me an email at jeffdrum1997@gmail.com. Or give me a text at 609-709-0034, and like I will take a look at your story, like see like where we can go.
Justin, tell them who we are interviewing tonight on Beverly Nation.
Oh yes, so we are very fortunate enough to have one of the three people that I am working for. Like he has been a great friend, a great supporter of me, like since day one. I started like being in the radio business. Alan Wayne of Indie Star Radio at 9:30 p.m. Eastern. So be sure to take a listen.
Very cool. So Ryan,
Yes.
I want you to give a little bit of your testimony. Let everybody know about you and how far you've come in with what you're doing.
Sure. So, with the industry, Lauren, as you've said, a lot of people go in it thinking off the bat, they want to be famous, they want to be rich. From day one, when I put in my first paperwork, my first portfolio, I knew it wasn't going to be an easy path, which a lot of people don't realize. A lot of people are attracted to that glitz and the glamour and think it's going to be an easy road when it's not. And the thing I've learned especially is not only which is what you've said, the industry is changing, but it is also still an industry where they want the picture perfect, look, which I understand in some aspects, but it does need to be more inclusive, which is why I would like to tell other fellow actors, never sit and tell yourself, oh, I can't go after that role, or, I'm not perfect for that. That doesn't exist. Don't put that in your mind, as I've learned too. And the fact of it being is keeping relevant, especially when going out for a role, is keeping yourself relevant, keeping relevant to the times. It's an industry that's always changing, that's always trying to perfect itself all the time. Now, the problem too is a lot of people don't have that confidence, which is what's needed in an industry.
Yes.
Yeah, and if you want to add in too, which, talking to you especially, I mean, when you said that you were a little shy and quiet, off the bat, I was kind of put back by that because growing up, seeing you in movies and stuff, I would never have guessed that you were this quiet, shy person.
Never.
Yes, I agree with everything that you're saying, and I think that confidence is probably the most important element in any sort of artistic success, especially when you're performing. Much of what I do, especially with my little clients, is confidence building.
Right.
Besides the acting, but yeah, you're right on. I think that just understanding that probably nothing in life comes easily.
Right.
That's like an accident
Mm-hmm.
if that happens.
Right.
Uh, but there's something amazing in the work that it takes to not only pursue those avenues, but then get a response, positive, negative, or otherwise. Like there's something beautiful in that growth that makes you better, that builds your confidence.
Right.
I mean, I've been rejected probably 95% of the time.
Okay. Wow. But that's also part of it, like how you were saying before, rejection is a normal thing that you have to get used to.
That's right. Makes me strong, and it's also not personal.
Right, exactly.
Like that's you.
Mm-hmm.
So learning that, you can't just like be told that and know it, right? You have to like actually experience it to fully understand the reality of that.
Right.
And so you're right. It's like, it's about being your best self and being confident in yourself and knowing that this is something you want to pursue. And then like you'll receive that feedback.
Right.
And respond accordingly.
Mm-hmm.
And that's part of it.
Right.
Yeah, and another thing I do want to say too, especially like coming from where you're at right now. I mean, like I really think it's like important to like realize that just because like you see this like really successful person, like doesn't mean like they've like always been told yes and everything. Like I mean, because I mean, like I just really see it as people like really working hard on like where they had to become, and I like can imagine like everything that you've been through, and like I know that it must have taken like probably like how long to like be where you're at right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right on, Justin. You know, I would say that it's so funny to me that like you're like someone successful like you, but you know, as when me being me, I'm like, yeah, but there's still all the stuff that I want to do. Like I don't necessarily like see it that way. Like there's so much more to be done, and like and I've definitely experienced many a setback, many a disappointment, and I am ultimately grateful for those things. But like they're hard, they're hard, and it's hard to get back up again and again after things that don't feel good or outcomes that aren't what you want. And so I think that is like the growth and the aftermath of that's the success. So that makes you your strong person and the attractive potential employee or participant in future projects, whatever those may be.
Beautiful. So we are coming to the close of the show. So I want to say thank you, of course, to Justin Drummond, of course, so much for another incredible guest. I think you're amazing, Justin, and we're going to continue to work together for a very long time, God willing. I want to say thank you to Lauren. Lauren Storm, you are now one of my faves for so many reasons. I want to say thank you to you, Ryan. Jersey Rockabilly Ryan.
Thank you.
Who's not only pursuing an acting career, he's also going to have a new show on Hamilton Radio. You can see us Thursday night at 4:30. I will be his first guest. I can't wait. But Lauren, I want to give you an opportunity before I close to say whatever else it is you want to say. Give a shout out to your fans. Anything, sweetheart.
Well, I just want to say thank you so much for having me as a guest on your show and allowing me to participate in this process. I feel very honored that you guys would want me to come on. And for anybody that's watching, thanks so much. And just, feel free to check in and see what I'm doing. My handle on Instagram is the Lauren Storm. So you can come, check me out, say hi, whatever, see what crazy adventure I'm working on. And I will keep everyone updated with the future progress of my projects. So thank you.
So we are the ones that are honored. Okay, I just want to say that. And if through this video you've seen me and Ryan looking up, it's because we're looking at the screen so we could see them talking, but the camera's here. So I want to say, first of all, thank you to Hamilton Radio for this incredible platform, and it's so good to be back live in studio. I just want to give everybody out there a little bit of hope, because that's what we all need right now more than ever. Okay? Life is a little different. It's a little hard right now. It's challenging. We've all gone through whatever it is we're going through this. This is something me at almost 60 years old, I never ever thought in my lifetime I would witness. Okay? So, but having said that, so many good and positive things have also come out of it. Today's interview, for instance, right? Lauren would probably be so busy, we wouldn't have been able to interview her. Through this, so many entertainers, and I want to thank them all for putting things out on Facebook, musicians, because we all know who our essential workers are. So kudos to you, and thank you, thank you. We all know who you are. But there's a couple that we don't really think about. One of them is our sanitation people, right? To me, that's right up there, especially through all this. And entertainers and musicians, okay? And, you know, the networks, Hamilton Radio, right? Remember Then Radio, PANJ Radio, Beverly Nation, Damon, all my networks. If it wasn't for my networks, I would have gone crazy through this. So you guys out there in the entertainment world, and you guys behind the scenes, like here at Hamilton Radio, you guys behind the scenes, I thank you so much, because people are stuck at home, and some people are stuck at home indefinitely, and you have made them smile through this. So I want to say thank you to all the entertainers out there, to all the musicians, and again, everybody behind the scenes allowing us to be out there, the technology, right? Having said that, do me a favor, guys. If this show helped you in any way, meant anything to you, this lady is incredible, all right? Her testimony of hope, just that alone, is worth sharing this video. So please, let's get this show out there. Again, thank you to Justin. I love you. Thank you to Ryan. I love you.
Love you too.
And thank you, Miss Lauren. I absolutely love you. Okay?
Thank you, Joy.
So with that, it's a wrap. Okay, Hamilton Radio. It's a wrap. Think we're good.